Welcome to episode 1 of the Age Makeup series, where we explore outside the boundaries of makeup norms and venture into the avant garde and experimentalism. Today, we'll be working with watercolor techniques. Instead of the clean lines, we're going to be embracing chaotic flow. Yes, diva. There's going to be a lot of feeling more than thinking, which is something I'm very good at. I dream of having a regulated nervous system. Now, real hairbrushes are ideal because it has the highest absorbency, meaning it picks up the most product and deposits the most product. But nowadays, there are mixed fibers, and synthetics can make really pretty watercolor effects. And the way to tell is to play with the brushes yourself. A little exploration, if you will. For watercolor effects, you can literally also use a clean watercolor brush. It works just as well on the face as it does on the canvas. Now, the best for watercolor effects is if you use water-activated liners, because these liners are formulated to hold pigment when you add a lot of water. But if you don't have water activated liners, what I used to do was take my eyeshadow scraped from the pan onto a palette mixed with water. This is when water activated liners weren't around. Or you can use loose pigment with water. It takes a bit more time because you want to get the ratios right depending on how pigmented or water you want the product. The water activated liners are the most versatile. I do have discount codes for my favorites because hello, economy, like our puss, it's a little tight right now. And if you're like, no, I want it now, I also found some on Amazon. So a really easy way to do watercolor effects is to take your water activated liners. I'm going to spray into this shade here. Actually, I'll just spray all of them since I'm going to use all of them. You can see why it's so messy. Then you're going to take your brush, dip in to the water activated liner, saturate the hell out of that brush. Take a palette, place the brush on the palette, spritz even more water on it. Want this really diluted because it is watercolor. See, with a lot of water, it still holds that much pigment. Saturate it until it's dripping or almost dripping. Have a Q-tip ready. And then with the saturated brush, you're going to press onto the skin and just let those bristles go wherever. Let it drip. Collect all that excess product until you start seeing that silhouette. What's really nice about watercolor as well is that they're easy to clean up. It doesn't look like I got shot in the face artistically. That's the look that you're gonna go for. And if you want this to be more obvious, you want that silhouette. Spritz water on the Q-tip and then you can remove just the middle of the splatter, and then now it's more obvious. Now with the MAC 217, then repeat the same thing. You're gonna saturate entire brush. Just pick up as much pigment as you can onto the palette. And then make sure this is dry in between applications. If you don't want it to drip like that, you can leave your tissue underneath and then press. You can collect more pigment and then work around. Before it's dry, take that Q-tip again, remove whatever excess is in the middle, let it soak it all up until it leaves that silhouette. If you find that the shades are too light for you, take a flat, rounded brush, go into your most favorite colorful palette, and then go with a similar shade or a corresponding shade. Press it over on top. You can also blend it more to the middle. And if you're feeling adventurous, you want more pigment, then you can add a deeper blue. And this not only gives pigment back to that watercolor effect, but it also adds depth because now you have two different textures. Let's say you want to keep that watercolor effect, you just want more pigment. Take any thin liner brush. This one is Glitz & Cosmetics, and these ones are made to work with water activated liners. I really recommend these if you love working with graphic liners. Very much worth it. Go in with less water this time so that there's more pigment. And then wherever you left that silhouette, go on top of it, rest your palm on your chin, on your cheek, wherever is comfortable to give you that control. Line around that silhouette. And doing that will give it more depth, more pigment. Continue on with as many colors, organic shapes. Now let's move on to the fun tips. If you want the colors to stand out even more, take any pigmented white shadow and you're going to saturate just a fluffy regular shadow brush. Place it, stamp it, and saturate that area that you want more color. So I always love adding highlights under my eyes, like so. And say if you only have one good brush to work with watercolor effects, take that brush on top of a clean tissue with some water. It's really easy to clean off. So you can keep working with the same brush with various colors and it won't mix because it's so easy to clean off. Saturate. I think I got enough water in there, so I'm not gonna spray it. And then go on top of wherever you laid that white, wherever as well, just to create some organic shapes. You can leave that effect or you can soak up the excess. And then having that white there actually was supposed to exaggerate that color, but I didn't extend it as much because I wasn't thinking to drag it. But the art spoke to me and then I dragged it. If that happens, just go around and it'll still highlight your art. another flat brush if you want a different texture. And you can put this while it's still drying. If it's fully dried, it'll just give you really interesting textures over that silhouette. And mix it with the powders, doesn't matter, it'll give you interesting textures. Now, when I first started with watercolor textures, I didn't know how to move the brush because I didn't have a reference. So if you want to slay that lovely watercolor splatter effect, Pinterest is always at the scene of the crime. And you just search paint splatters, watercolor splatters, and it'll give you these images that'll push some inspiration. And then you take those shapes and then you can start molding it to your liking. And it's really good to have a reference. And then before you know it, you are a canvas. And if you're like, shit, I don't like any of this, Q-tip, water. Give it a little spritzy spritz. Clean it back up and replace it with something else. Or you can take that water and start shaping it. Like if I wanted more negative space here, I'll start moving this Q-tip around in abstract ways. Because you're in control, you can add and take away whatever you like, whenever you like. You can also go back with your saturated brush and do little dots around to give it that splatter looking effect. And if you're like, no bitch, I want more splatter, more artistry, then take whatever color onto a brush, spritz some water on here, saturate it a little bit more again, and then hold your hand like this, and then you're gonna whack it on your face. So, and then you can see that it creates organic splatters. Make sure you're not wearing your favorite shirt. I'm gonna fix this situation here. I'm gonna add a purple. It's always a sexy idea to explore. Move your brush, work with your fingers if you like, and then the more that you explore, the more you find your unique rhythm. Another thing that I love about these watercolor looks is that these looks can never be duplicated ever again, because so many of these shapes are organically just made by the brush. It's truly just your own unique expression at that moment, at that time, and this is just the beginning of the most beautiful art that you can ever create, which honestly, it's you. Another fun texture idea, coat your finger just with as much pigment as you can and then go over. Just, oh, look how bright that is. You can also go in with some glitter. If you wanted to have layers like this, take your brush with your saturated liner, press it in, remove it with the Q-tip, and then take a smaller brush and then go on top of that a little bit more underneath so it has like a scab, it shows the layers. And then while that's drying, the same step as you did before and remove everything except for that outline, except for that silhouette. And then now you'll have some layered outlines. Really take your time playing around with a look like this. If anything, it is also just makeup, so you can remove and start all over again. So this is the beginning of the coming of age, the arrival, the coming of avant-garde experimentalism. Avant-garde is creativity without limits. It does not follow beauty standards, but instead creates its own. And honestly, that is the hottest thing to me. And experimentalism, where we are actually open to trials, errors, mistakes, and failures. That does not discourage us, but instead fuels the creativity. It's failing our way to success, bitch. So diva. I like to think of these episodes representing a double meaning. So the literal avant-garde experimentalism and aging with this type of makeup only gets more uniquely beautiful over time. And yes, I did feel like I did something. I feel like I'm a genius. I literally just want my cunty community that is cute with a threatening aura. Thank you very much. So show me your watercolor creations in the comments. Tell me how it worked out for you. If you have any questions, if you have troubleshoots, and if you have an idea you want to explore in the next episodes, let me know. Stay diva, stay cunt, stay puss, stay artistic. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.